Hello friends, this is Matt. I'm outside today and it might be a bit breezy. Sorry if there's a wind noise coming across the microphone now and then, but I just couldn't resist sitting out in this sunshine. There's a cool breeze and it's just stunning. I'm feeling really great about life. So I wanted to talk to you about auditions. Now this can be for young people or people that have been doing it for years. It doesn't really make much difference. If it's a process or an experience that you feel some degree of apprehension or anxiety with, I am totally with you. I'm not a great auditioner, I don't think. I have done some pretty great auditions, but I'm not particularly good at it, and I have come up with a system that I think gives me the best chance of at least feeling somewhat satisfied with what it is that I present when I go into audition. Okay, so I'm gonna try and I have a tendency to ramble on, so I guess I shouldn't do that too much on this video. So let me try and focus in. What you want to do is you have to be really clear about what happens to you when you enter the audition room. So awareness is the first step. Curiosity. Actually, I reckon curiosity is the first step, and then that leads to awareness of what happens to you when you step in. Where does your attention go? Think about it for a moment. If you had to think about what part of your body you think you go to, let me give you some examples. Perhaps when you step in, you get really heady. It starts to becoming like, oh God, I hope I don't forget my lines and what's gonna happen, and you know, you start spinning our wheels up here. Other people get really nervous if they can feel it down in their stomach. It can knot up and they start to lose their power, and it's like, oh my God, what am I doing? I don't know if I'm doing this. And other times we can actually feel it in our heart, and it can be quite an ache. The pressure of the moment is really, it's kind of unfair. And if you do feel that pressure, don't feel bad about it, because it's an unnatural situation. There's way too much pressure, especially in Australia, because we don't really get to audition as much as we probably should. So each time we go in, the stakes are unfairly high. So what happens when you go in? Do you change? Do you lose your breath? Do you start thinking of stuff? How much of your attention is kept in the present moment? How available are you? How grounded are you? So the first thing is to have a curiosity. Then develop a sense of awareness of what happens to you. You want to come up with a process as you step over or into that room, or over the threshold, if you like, to just take a moment, take a breath. Even now, if you just take a breath, you don't have to kind of be on, you don't have to stay in a sort of peak, slightly manic frame of mind. And this can happen. If you're looking at this kind of going, I don't get like that. Okay, that's awesome for you, but I assure you there are lots of people that get like that. I have seen people come into audition rooms and be like that. I have felt that myself, because I was brought up to be really respectful of authority and to do the right thing and to look after people and help them any way I can. So it's very easy for me to go into a pleasing mode, and I just want to please them and I want to give them what they want. Thing is, I don't know what they want. We don't really know what they want. I mean, we get a brief generally of what we think the expectation is, but all that is just our interpretation of what we're reading anyway. The reality is, this notion of giving them what they want, they kind of don't really know for sure what it is that they want. Now, they have a pretty good idea of the sort of thing they're after, but it's up to you to show them. That's the beauty of it. When you realize that they don't really know what they want, and they want you to show them, and they want you to be awesome, it can take a lot of pressure off the moment. It takes the them versus us, or them versus me versus them thing away from it. See it as a collaboration rather than a like judgment. It's like a firing squad, especially with an audition where they're sitting behind the panel. I mean, it's no wonder it's nerve-wracking. But come up with a little process Here's the thing, so the process, super important. When you step into the room, see if you can find an opportunity to take a breath. If it's a musical theatre audition, you've got a perfect opportunity when you go over to the piano to give the pianist your music. Hi. You can do that, it's fine. It takes a few seconds, but people get so worried about looking like they're not professional enough and not ready enough. If you lose your footing and you start to become a little bit like a rabbit in the headlights, it's highly unlikely that you're going to show them your best work. And that's really all we want to do. We do our best, the best that we are able to on that day, and then we just leave it in the lap of the gods. What will be, will be. Because the fact is that when it comes to auditions, if you don't get it, it doesn't mean that it was a bad audition. Maybe you're just not quite the right fit for somebody else that they have cast. It's never, it's very rarely just to do with how much talent you have. I know lots of extremely talented people that miss out on stuff all the time. And just quietly, I know quite a few people that don't have nearly as much talent who get work all the time because they're good at auditioning. For whatever reason, they just have a good energy about them when they go in. Maybe they don't stress about this stuff the way that lots of other people do. So I reckon there is something in that. How do you stay grounded? What works for you? So the next thing is for you to have a sense of develop this curiosity, as I said before. Where does this stuff come from? Any concern that you have, nerves, this feeling of like, oh, I want to please them. I want to be right. I don't want to forget my lines. Because like, okay, well, if you're curious, like without judgment about this stuff, it can be like, okay, I don't want to forget my lines. So the question is, because then what would happen if you forgot your lines? Well, then I would look unprofessional. Not necessarily. Maybe if you froze and stopped and gave up and apologized, that's probably not great. But that's not how you have to deal with forgetting your lines. You can always remain grounded and centered and take a moment. You may not necessarily even need to break out of character. How you handle things going wrong in an audition can be massively helpful for you. I reckon lots of people that have made mistakes and dealt with them in a really awesome way have given themselves a huge bonus. So in that situation, actually forgetting your lines was a positive thing. So it's all about how you deal with it. And this curiosity about how you deal with these things is super important. The more we know about the way we do stuff, the more connected we are to self, the easier it is for us to untie some of these knots. And also, in the next step, once we start actually creating things and collaborating, the easier it is to get in touch with like, well, then how would I be within these given circumstances? So that becomes like an acting, storytelling thing. So in every way, it's a really satisfying and helpful thing to do. Because that is what we want, right? At the end of the audition, we want to be able to feel satisfied that we did a great job and then we'll just let it be. So, have a process. What happens when you step in? Have a curiosity. Where do those feelings come from? And I'll give you one last thing before I finish up. You can extend this notion, or like this process of stepping in, to be, okay, what are you going to do once you get into the room? Do you get badly affected by sitting around a group of people that are nervous? Because some people are horribly nervous in audition rooms. And if you are, that affects you, well then be like, okay, what can I do to feel grounded? Maybe there's a picture of someone that makes you feel really calm. Maybe you can listen to a couple of tracks while remaining attentive to go in when you're called. That can just have you relaxed. Curiosity, awareness, and process is super helpful for dealing with nerves for auditions. Hopefully that was helpful for you. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a really great day. I am going to lap up this sunshine. Be brave.